In these times of geopolitical tensions and the rebalancing of global powers, a surprising piece of news has captured international attention. Emmanuel Macron, the President of France, has officially requested to participate in the upcoming BRICS meeting in South Africa. This initiative, as unexpected as it is bold, has sparked a mix of surprise, curiosity, and skepticism around the world. The BRICS, an acronym that includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represent a significant economic and political alliance, often seen as a counterbalance to Western influence. Since its formation, this group has sought to promote multipolarity in international relations, emphasizing South-South cooperation and challenging the traditional dominance of Western powers. In this context, Macron's request to join this meeting marks a potentially significant turning point in current geopolitical dynamics. The initial reaction to this announcement has been a mix of shock and upheaval. For many, the idea that a leader from a Western country, and one as emblematic as France, seeks to involve himself in a BRICS meeting is seen as a break from traditional alliances. Historically, Western countries, particularly the United States and its European allies, have often been at odds with some BRICS members, notably Russia and China, on issues of international policy, human rights, and trade. This request raises many questions. Why does Macron want to participate in this meeting? What are France's objectives in seeking to engage with the BRICS? Is this an attempt to diversify France's alliances in an increasingly multipolar world, or are there deeper economic and strategic motivations? For some observers, this move could be interpreted as a sign of France's recognition of the growing importance of the BRICS on the global stage. Indeed, with the emergence of new economic and political powers, it is becoming increasingly evident that traditional power structures are evolving. In this context, Macron's participation in the BRICS meeting could be seen as an attempt to adapt to these changes and position France as a key player in this new world order. However, this initiative is not without risks. It could be perceived as a betrayal by France's traditional allies, particularly the United States, and could potentially complicate France's relations with its Western partners. Moreover, it remains to be seen how the BRICS members will receive this request. Some may see it as an opportunity for dialogue and cooperation, while others may perceive it as an attempt at interference or manipulation. In summary, Emmanuel Macron's request to participate in the BRICS meeting in South Africa is a fascinating and potentially transformative development in the current geopolitical landscape. It raises important questions about the future of international alliances and France's place in a rapidly changing world. As reactions continue to multiply, one thing is certain: this initiative will undoubtedly mark a turning point in international relations and open new perspectives for global cooperation. Emmanuel Macron's official request to participate in the BRICS meeting in South Africa marked a significant moment in contemporary international relations. This initiative, as unexpected as it is bold, was made through official diplomatic communication addressed to the South African government. Macron, as President of France, expressed his desire to see France engage more actively with the BRICS, a group that, since its formation, has sought to promote multipolarity in international relations and offer an alternative to the traditional dominance of Western powers. Macron's request did not go unnoticed. It was widely covered by French and international media, sparking a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and lively debate. For many, this initiative represents a break from France's traditional alliances, particularly with the United States and other European partners. Historically, Western countries have often been at odds with some BRICS members, notably Russia and China, on issues of international policy, human rights, and trade. Thus, Macron's desire to engage with the BRICS has been seen as an attempt to diversify France's alliances in an increasingly multipolar world. The French media have been particularly active in covering this request. Newspapers such as Le Monde and Le Figaro have published in-depth analysis of the potential implications of this initiative. Some commentators have praised this move as evidence of Macron's boldness and strategic vision, highlighting that France could play a bridging role between the West and emerging powers. Others, however, have expressed reservations, pointing out the potential risks to France's relations with its traditional allies, particularly the United States. On the international stage, Macron's request has also sparked keen interest. Media outlets like the New York Times and The Guardian have published articles analyzing Macron's possible motivations and the implications of this initiative for the balance of global power. Some observers have interpreted this move as a sign of France's recognition of the growing importance of the BRICS on the global stage. Indeed, with the emergence of new economic and political powers, it is becoming increasingly evident that traditional power structures are evolving. In this context, Macron's participation in the BRICS meeting could be seen as an attempt to adapt to these changes and position France as a key player in this new world order. Emmanuel Macron's request to participate in the BRICS meeting has elicited a variety of reactions and comments from different international actors. One of the first responses came from the spokesperson for the South African president, who claimed to be unaware of Macron's request. This statement has been interpreted by some as a sign of caution on the part of South Africa, which may be reluctant to welcome a Western leader into a meeting traditionally reserved for BRICS members and their strategic partners. Russia's reaction has been particularly notable. Maria Zakharova, the official representative of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, stated that Paris should explain to Moscow the purpose of French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to the BRICS summit. This request for explanations reflects the ongoing tensions between Russia and Western countries, particularly in the context of the Ukrainian crisis and the economic sanctions imposed on Russia. For Moscow, Macron's participation in the BRICS meeting could be seen as an attempt by France to play a double game, seeking to maintain relations with its traditional allies while engaging with emerging powers. Comments from the French media on this initiative have been varied. Some have praised the boldness and innovation of this move, highlighting that France could play a mediating role between the West and the BRICS. Others, however, have expressed reservations, pointing out the potential risks to France's relations with its traditional allies. For example, Le Monde published an editorial noting that this initiative could be perceived as a betrayal by the United States, which has traditionally been a key ally of France. In summary, Emmanuel Macron's request to participate in the BRICS meeting has sparked a wide range of reactions and comments. While some see this initiative as evidence of Macron's strategic vision and France's willingness to adapt to a rapidly changing world, others express reservations about the potential implications for France's traditional alliances. In any case, this initiative will undoubtedly mark a turning point in international relations and open new perspectives for global cooperation. The BRICS, an acronym that includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represent a major economic and political alliance on the international stage. Since their formation, these countries have sought to promote multipolarity in international relations, offering an alternative to the traditional dominance of Western powers. The main objective of the BRICS is to counter Western hegemony and create a common currency to bypass the dollar, thereby reducing dependence on Western-dominated financial systems. Brazil, with its dynamic economy and abundant natural resources, plays a key role in this alliance. Russia, with its geopolitical influence and energy resources, brings an important strategic dimension. India, with its rapid economic growth and large population, represents a crucial emerging market. China, as the world's second-largest economy, brings considerable economic and industrial power. Finally, South Africa, with its mineral resources and leadership role in Africa, completes this diverse group. One of the main objectives of the BRICS is to reduce dependence on the US dollar in international transactions. This dependence has long been a point of contention for many countries, as it exposes their economies to fluctuations and monetary policies of the United States. By creating a common currency or using local currencies for trade transactions, the BRICS seek to strengthen their economic autonomy and reduce their vulnerability to sanctions and economic pressures exerted by Western powers. In addition to their efforts to create a common currency, the BRICS have also established alternative financial institutions, such as the New Development Bank, NDB, to finance infrastructure and development projects in member countries and other emerging economies. These initiatives aim to offer an alternative to traditional international financial institutions, such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, which are often perceived as being dominated by Western countries. Emmanuel Macron's position on the international stage has been marked by a desire to strengthen Europe's strategic autonomy and diversify France's alliances. This approach is particularly evident in his relations with China and the United States, two major powers with which France maintains complex and sometimes tense relations. Historically, Macron's relations with China have been characterized by a willingness to cooperate and engage in dialogue. During his visit to China, Macron emphasized the importance of strengthening economic and cultural ties between France and China. He also expressed his support for the One China policy and the search for a peaceful resolution of tensions in the region, particularly concerning Taiwan. This position has been seen as an attempt to maintain stable relations with China while avoiding involvement in the growing geopolitical tensions between China and the United States. In contrast, Macron's relations with the United States have been more nuanced. Although France and the United States are traditional allies, Macron has often expressed his desire to see Europe develop greater strategic autonomy. In a speech at the Sorbonne, Macron called for a more sovereign Europe, capable of making its own decisions on defense and security without relying exclusively on the United States. This vision has been met with a mix of support and skepticism, both in Europe and the United States. Macron's statement on Europe's strategic autonomy has elicited varied reactions. Some have welcomed this vision as a necessary step to strengthen Europe's position on the international stage. Others, however, have expressed reservations, highlighting the challenges and costs associated with such autonomy. In particular, some U.S. senators have criticized Macron for his position, arguing that it could weaken the transatlantic alliance and complicate relations between Europe and the United States. The criticisms from U.S. senators reflect the underlying tensions in transatlantic relations. Some senators have accused Macron of seeking to weaken NATO and undermine cooperation between Europe and the United States. Others have expressed concerns about Europe's ability to ensure its own defense without U.S. support. These criticisms highlight the challenges Macron faces in his attempt to reconcile the interests of France and Europe with the expectations and concerns of its traditional allies. In summary, Macron's position on the international stage is marked by a desire to strengthen Europe's strategic autonomy and diversify France's alliances. This approach is particularly evident in his relations with China and the United States, where Macron seeks to maintain a delicate balance between cooperation and independence. While this vision elicits varied reactions, it reflects the challenges and opportunities Europe faces in a rapidly changing world. Emmanuel Macron's request to participate in the Brics meeting has sparked a wave of speculation and analysis about his deeper motivations. Some observers wonder whether this initiative is a strategic double game or a genuine conversion to a new vision of international alliances. On one hand, Macron may be seeking to diversify France's partnerships in an increasingly multipolar world while maintaining relations with traditional allies. On the other hand, this approach could reflect a recognition of the growing importance of the BRICS and a willingness to adapt to a new world order. The analysis of the potential of the BRICS and the future of the dollar is at the heart of discussions about this initiative. The BRICS, with their economic and demographic weight, represent a rising force on the international stage. Their goal of creating a common currency to bypass the dollar could, if achieved, redefine global economic dynamics. The dollar, as the dominant reserve currency, has long been a pillar of U.S. economic power. A reduction in its use in international transactions could weaken this position and pave the way for greater monetary multipolarity. The possible consequences of Macron's participation in the BRICS meeting are multiple and complex. On one hand, this initiative could strengthen France's position as a key player in international relations, capable of engaging with emerging powers while maintaining its traditional alliances. On the other hand, it could also create tensions with the United States and other Western partners, who might perceive this move as a betrayal or an attempt to undermine the transatlantic alliance. Furthermore, Macron's participation could offer France an opportunity to play a mediating role between the West and the BRICS, facilitating dialogue and cooperation on issues of common interest. However, it could also expose France to pressures and criticisms from its traditional allies, who might see this initiative as an attempt to undermine their collective influence. To better understand the implications of Macron's request, it is useful to compare it to other similar situations in international relations. A relevant example is Israel's request to become an observer within the African Union. This initiative, which aimed to strengthen ties between Israel and African countries, was met with a mix of support and skepticism. The reaction of South Africa to this request was particularly notable. As an influential member of the African Union, South Africa played a key role in rejecting Israel's request. South African leaders expressed concerns about Israel's presence as an observer, arguing that it could complicate the internal dynamics of the African Union and create tensions with members who are critical of Israel. This situation offers an interesting parallel to Macron's request to participate in the BRICS meeting. In both cases, an external power seeks to engage with an alliance or organization that has traditionally been perceived as being in opposition to its interests or alliances. South Africa's reaction to Israel's request highlights the challenges Macron might face in his attempt to engage with the BRICS. In summary, Emmanuel Macron's request to participate in the BRICS meeting raises important questions about the motivations, implications, and consequences of this initiative. While some see this move as evidence of Macron's strategic vision and France's willingness to adapt to a rapidly changing world, others express reservations about the potential risks to France's traditional alliances. The comparison with other situations, such as Israel's request to become an observer within the African Union, offers additional perspectives on the challenges and opportunities associated with this initiative. Emmanuel Macron's request to participate in the BRICS meeting places the French president in a delicate position, raising questions about the potential consequences of this initiative. By seeking to engage with an alliance traditionally seen as a counterbalance to the West, Macron is navigating a fine line between strategic diversification and maintaining historical alliances. This approach could either strengthen France's position as a key player in a multipolar world or complicate its relations with its traditional partners. Macron's objective remains subject to interpretation. Is this an attempt to adapt to a new world order or a more complex strategy aimed at influencing the dynamics of the BRICS from within? The future reactions of the BRICS members will be crucial in assessing the success of this initiative. Their reception could vary, with some seeing it as an opportunity for dialogue, while others might perceive it as an attempt at interference. This situation invites deep reflection on the evolution of international alliances and France's place in this changing landscape. What do you think? Is this move a sign of strategic vision or an unnecessary risk for France's relations? Your views and perspectives are essential to enrich this complex debate.